Alright, we're going to balance the carbs on my ZR6 or my ZZR600 Kawasaki Ninja. I just ordered the balancing kit for this. However, I noticed that two of mine are not zeroed out. The two center ones are not zeroed out. The two outside ones are zeroed out. So I took off the face plates. I have a small flathead screwdriver. I'm going to show you how to zero these out because neither of these came properly zeroed out. So we're just going to twist a little bit to the left here if I can do this with one hand. Nope, let me try to lock it against something and then turn it. Alright, as you can see, I have zeroed them all out now. They are all on center base 0. I have my lines attached. I have taken white out. I went ahead and put this across where I wanted to put my vacuum valve lines at. Took a little bit of white out, just kind of marked it so they'd be even. So now we're going to cut all these with my utility knife, and then we're going to install these twist valves all in the same direction. They're all going to be going to the right, so you can just reach in and adjust each one like this, and that will allow us to stabilize the gauges while we're doing the synchronizing. So let me cut all these, and we'll go ahead and install these real quick, and then all this will be ready to attach to the bike and start the synchronization process. I'll show you what I got going on out there with the ZZR. Alright, there you go. That's how you properly set them up. So now you have the twist valves. This will settle the needles. You know, you still want a baseline, so they have to vibrate a little bit when they're connected, but this is, you still want them bouncing slightly, but everything's zeroed out now across the board. We are good to go. All the valves have been installed, so now these are ready to get hooked to the carbs in order, obviously, and then we got to start the synchronization process. My bike's been suffering since I bought it, waiting on this kit to arrive with slight synchronization problems on, you know, the first part of takeoff and stuff, and really want to get the engine synchronized. I stopped kind of driving it just because I didn't want to keep putting so many miles on it with it out of sync, and so we're gonna solve that today. These kits are not cheap, but totally worth it, especially if you own a carbureted bike. Got to keep your carbs in sync and happy, and you want a very responsive throttle, and so that's what we're going for here. So let's go sync these carbs. Alright, so got my gauges up here all tied in now, and I don't have them on yet. We got to remove the carbs real fast. The vacuum line connectors are down here, but there's something I want to do first. There's 1, 2, 3, and then the fourth one is really hidden back there. So the carbs are actually going to be coming off twice here, but pulling them the first time because I'm going to reset all of the fuel mixture screws all the way to default because I think they're out of whack, and I want to tune them while I have them here now, and they're in the bike. I'm going to go ahead and pull the carbs, and just so you're aware, on this model, this is the 2004, these are the CVK Keihin, whatever, CVK. These ones are all the way back in, so sync them until they're all the way at the bottom, and then it's 2.5 turns out per carb. So they should all be identical as long as they're working properly. They should all be the same. All my slides are working great. Everything's working great. I cleaned these myself the first time around, so I know they've been cleaned properly. So we're going to yank these. I got to pull out the 4 screws, and then we're going to reset all of the fuel mixture screws all the way down, and then turn them 2.5 turns out on each one to make sure that they're all identical across the board. Then we'll put them back on. But while I have these off, it makes it really easy to connect the vacuum lines. So we'll go ahead and put the vacuum lines on there once I have these off and I reset them, and then we'll pop them back on, and then we'll be able to get our baseline and see where these are at after we adjust the fuel air ratio. So we got a little work ahead of us. We're gonna go ahead and pull these carbs and go from there. So let me get my screwdriver. We're going to loosen these on the back. There should be each rubber boot has a screw on it. You just got to make sure to pull those screws. That one is down there. So each rubber boot has a screw, and then this just pops off. And as long as you don't pull hard or yank on anything, you don't have to reset the cables or anything like that. Everything just comes out nice and smoothly. This entire rack pulls off. You can see that it moves when I grab it. the whole rack pulls off. It's really easy to go back on too. It's not a pain in the butt in the slightest. So as long as things are working, you know, functioning correctly, shouldn't be an issue. So let's pop these off, reset these fuel air screw mixture screws all the way back to default out of the book, and then we'll pop them back on. We'll see if we can get our baseline synchronizing started here and see how out of whack they are, and go from there. So as you can see, now that I've got them out, I can access all the vacuum ports. So I'll be taking the rubber pieces off each one, and then we'll be attaching these lines while I've got it out now. And we're going to be adjusting the fuel mixture screws, which are back here on the bottom. Kind of still hard to see even with it propped up, but those are it right there. There's one on the end of each one. So that one's over there, that one's there, this one's back here, and that one of course is right there. So you're going to turn those all the way in until they're tight, and then you're going to back them out 2.5 turns on each one to get these set back to default, and then we can plug them back in after we hook up the vacuum leads, and we'll give this bike some fuel. As you can see, I've got a little thing here. At first we got to adjust all the fuel mixture screws here, and yeah, then we can do the next fun part of this. So actually I think I'm going to do the vacuum gauges first, because that's the easy part, and just don't forget that these two are tied in the middle. So let's get all these little rubbers off here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we'll plug the carbs back in and we'll go from there. Alright, before we got started, I wanted you guys to see just how out of sync this was. This is for me as well as for you, so I haven't made any adjustments to the carb. I just pulled them and put all the vacuum lines on there, gave a little gas to my reservoir here, and now we're going to go ahead and crank the bike up while it's like this. I have all the lines connected that are necessary to make this run with the efficiency that it has currently, and we're going to crank this up and see just how out of whack these are. So it's going to take a second. We won't start being able to dial things in until I have a chance to go through here, level the needles. It's got to go through the choke process, so we got a little work ahead of us here, but I am going to start this up and we're going to get this thing underway here. So let's get her cranked up. Here we go. Hard start because all the gas receded backwards. So we don't have any baseline bounce yet. Open these up so we start seeing some bounce. There we go. There we go. Be interesting to see what these do when the choke comes off. They're actually almost synchronized, so maybe I'm having an issue elsewhere, but we'll check. So, these actually aren't as bad as I thought they were. I'm idling pretty healthily right now. I can turn it down a little bit, but these aren't as bad as I thought they were. They're a little off, but not by much. But they're not bouncing like they should either, so they still need a little bit of tuning. Let me see if I can adjust this one so it stops bouncing so much. I'm gonna apply a little more pressure on that one. There we go. Alright. They're not too bad. I thought they were going to be more out of whack than that. They're actually doing very well. Alright, well that's good to know. So, I'm having a little jittery problem on the low end. I'm thinking it might be a coil or plug, so I'm going to go ahead and kick off the plugs. I do smell that it's running rich on one cylinder. I'm getting a lot of fumes out of one cylinder over here. It just smells fumey. It smells like it's coming out of this side here. So one of those definitely still needs an adjustment. But as far as the tune goes, these things are almost synchronized. That's pretty good for, heck, 10,000, almost 11,000 miles on the bike. That's actually very impressive. I thought they were going to be a little more out of sync than that, but I guess not. That's pretty responsive. Alright, so just a little tuning required here. Alright, so before we go any further, I want to break one of these plugs free, have a look at it, and see what's been going on with the carbs now for the first 1,500 miles I put on this bike. There we go. Get that loose. Set that down there. Take my magnet, reach down in there. Pull that plug out and have a look at her. See if she's coffee brown, huh? See what's going on. Step out in the light here. Alright. So. Alright, so good indicator. I'm glad that I decided to check these. And I'm going to clean this head off again before I shove it back in there. So, alright, I put this filter on there 1,500 miles ago, and if you guys remember how nasty my tank was, it was pretty bad. So this might actually be the culprit, because as you can see, that's brown inside there, and that should be yellow. So this thing's definitely been filtering a lot of crap. You can see one is yellow, and the other one is like frickin' brown. There you go. That should look like. That's what it does look like. See a difference here? Okay, so it may just be because I can see a whole bunch of crap inside of here. It may just be that this filter was clogged up, which was causing a severe, you know, lack of fuel efficiency. I mean, that's why this tank was very rusty. I cleaned it numerous times. That's why I bought plenty of filters. So I'm just going to go ahead and change the filter. We're 1,500 miles in. I'm going to change the filter again. I have another one after this one, so we're going to put this one back in, attach that to the fuel pump. And I'm not sure that it's necessary to actually tamper with any of these settings, and the reason why is because the fuel air mixture screws, because I checked each of the spark plugs and they all look just fine. I got the choke on again. We just warmed it up. I will say it sounds like it's actually passing fuel better, and I can see the fuel bouncing around inside of there. So we might have just had a fuel filter that was causing a problem from the first cleaning of that rusty tank when I got it. I knew that might happen, so it's all good though. This is still slightly out of sync, so we'll address all that. I just want it to warm up slightly, and then we'll come off the choke, and I'll see exactly how much I have to do. Oh yeah, dude, changing the filter actually makes the idle sound better. Boy, that filter might have been pretty darn clogged up. Oh boy. I think we got a winner. I think we got a winner. Think we got a winner, folks. Man, they're all pretty darn close to being lined up. I think she's a happy camper. I think she just wanted a new fuel filter. Those are all damn stable. That's pretty hard to argue with that. I was thinking I was gonna have to synchronize these, but now I'm thinking it's not a necessary thing. These all look like they're pretty darn close to being 100% on the dot. So, just for everyone involved, I really want to have a look inside this filter to see how bad it was, because I can see a ton of debris inside here. And it'd be interesting to see if that was actually causing the huge problem that I was having here. So let's just see if we can cut this open, have a look inside here and see how bad this filter was. Oh yeah, okay. Oh boy, look at all those rust particles in there. Look at that. Tons of rust particles. Yeah, this thing caught a lot of stuff. There is a ton of debris in this filter. I mean, a lot. There is a lot of debris. You can see it clogged up all the middle section on each one of these. See that? I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but each one of these was very clogged up. A lot of rust particles in here. So, glad I did that filter. You can see it all along the bottom there. So there's definitely a lot of rust particles in here from the tank clean. So this thing's been doing what it was designed to do, filter the system. Excellent. Alright, well, I think I actually came across my culprit of this slow takeoff, laggy, kind of sputtery stuff at the bottom end. I think that'll probably solve that issue. So let's put the bike back together, because I don't think it needs to be synchronized. I think this whole problem was coming back to crappy fuel filter causing my issue. So slap her back together. Last on the list, I got to do valves. It's time for a valve job. Throw this over here for now. Letting her warm up. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Alright, let's take her for a ride. See how she does here. Oh, it's been like a month since I've had this out. Whew. Alright. There we go. It's gonna take a rip. It's really hot. It is really hot. It's hot out. Feed her a little bit of the beans. You ready? Let's hug these corners. Oh, she feels good. Oh, she feels good. Float through the corners, baby. This bike loves it. She was doing her best to beat me to that roundabout. Alright. She tried. It was a cute effort.
God, I missed this. Ah, I missed this. Don't do it. Don't do it, stupid. Oh, we got a cute scooter. I love it when they try to show off but they can't keep up. She thought about it. Sport bikes just have too much power, man. They're just too quick. Should we go? Let's have some fun here. You like it, bikey. Don't act like you don't. You like it. I'm just trying to remind you what the good road feels like, you know? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, baby. All that power in one little pocket rocket. Let's hammer it to hell. Alright, that's enough. I've been beating on her. I've been beating on her pretty good. Trying to warm her up. She's happy. She's a happy bike, but I'm still getting a little bit of cutting out on the bottom end, so might need some fuel adjustment still. And that's alright. Beyond this fine tuning, I'll take it to my buddy Randy.